All right, I got 5 questions. We'll start with the rapid fire, just like a yes or no or
Yeah.
one-word answer.
Okay.
Does the games this year get more or less viewers than 2023?
2023 less.
What about 24?
I guess the way you asked it was good. 20. I don't know if you can compare it to 24.
Yeah.
I'll say it'll
Uh,
get more than 2024
all right, just a yes or no. Are games athletes healthy?
on average.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you wear out a joint, like an elbow or a knee?
Yeah.
Which sport would CrossFitters translate best? So if you took the games athletes and you had them all switch to a sport, which one would they excel the most at?
There's probably some very like nuanced sports I can't think of, but honestly want to say wrestling.
Bring back CrossFit Games wildcard, yes or no?
Yeah.
How many?
How many wild cards?
Yeah.
I'm down to do as many as they can accommodate.
All right, let's start with the sport one because I think this one's kind of interesting. So I think it would be like you said, rest. I said like my first thought was mixed martial, like some martial art, or I actually think it would translate really well to rugby because rugby's so mixed all the time, and uh, it just takes a good amount of strength and everything else. So I think football, basketball, all those sports are too specific, but rugby's such a broad sport in terms of like the skills you have to have or capacity you have to have.
I do think they would probably get away with rugby a little bit better than like basketball and football, but I still feel like there's a good bit of like I don't know. You know how I'm biased. I just like never think that like CrossFit athletes, the majority of them are that good at like cutting and like changing direction and like you're doing a ton
You
of
think they'd
agility.
be good at wrestling? Do you know how much spatial capacity or like spatial awareness and stuff you have to be good at wrestling?
I feel like CrossFit athletes have great spatial awareness. I feel like, but it's not like I just feel like CrossFit athletes are so explosive with their hips. They're like that's what wrestling is, just like being able to like yeah, just like really leverage your
Yeah, and
body
so much
in
core
space.
strength.
Just like how you can leverage your body with like core strength and like hip explosion. I just feel like I don't know where like the um yeah, I don't know. I just think of like on field sports, just like as much distance they have to cover, like all the like the fast rapid cutting, just like the plyometric type stuff. Just naturally, I think for
Like a
rugby would
lot
be
of the
easier.
games athletes are so good at like all that stuff. I feel like they're
Do you
still
think
explosive. They're
so
still
many of them?
fast.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
I would love to watch the games athletes play flag football and just see how it would look.
Why? Do you think they wouldn't be good?
I just think I think a good chunk of them would look goofy as hell.
What would look goofy about it though?
Just like not being able to like fluidly or like yeah, just like smoothly like make good cuts and like try to like I'm just like imagining them trying to like juke someone out, like make a defender miss or like run a route or like try to like get someone's flag that jukes them out. Like, you know what I mean? Just like that ability to react against another component. Because CrossFit, you're never against anybody.
Is that a mental skill or a physical skill?
It's both. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The definition of agility is reacting to an external stimulant, right? Whether it's a visual or like auditory, like, right? You have to react to something. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is the whole thing to agility in sports is like it's that involuntary reaction. So it's like you're piecing together the physical and the psychological, like
Yeah.
nervous system response.
Yeah, I feel like wrestling, especially because like CrossFitters are so strong and like
Hmm.
they're especially like
Grip
their core and
strength
stuff.
and just
Yeah.
being able to. But there's probably some other ones like nuance. But yeah, I wouldn't put like I like went with that because wrestling. Obviously, there's skill in the fact of like understanding the moves, but I don't think like I think a lot of it's just grit, right? And as once you
Mhm.
know like the moves, it's just all about like exposure to like doing it in real time, like against an opponent.
Yeah. All right. Can you wear out a joint? You said yes. So I was
I think
listening to
yeah. Go ahead.
Greg on a podcast the other day. I think it was when he went on Mark Bell's podcast,
Hmm.
and he was talking about how he's like, I think you can wear out a joint. Like I think it only has so many reps in it, so many contractions or whatever. He said like he knows people who are like big bikers, and he's like they're all having hip replacements. He's like, I think you can like wear out a joint. I think it only has like a set amount of miles on it, and
Hmm.
then once you're done with that, it's like over.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's like dependent on each person. Like, I don't think it's obviously the same across the board. Like what that rep count would be, obviously, right?
Well, but I mean, I'm just talking about the concept of there being like a rep count or
Yeah,
like
like
a
for me though,
mileage.
I wouldn't even say that. I think it all comes into account like the quality of reps that you're getting and like not being able to ever. Well, the reason why I said, well, kind of like to backtrack off of me saying yes, I think most people that probably think their joints are wearing out are not worn out. It's like the only people's joints who are worn out are the people like Mark Bell's probably talking about, like the people that literally like took themselves to like the furthest capacity of powerlifting, right? That just like absolutely
But you think their
overstressed.
joints are worn out?
Potentially some, just because I think that their load management was terrible. Like they actually did not like effectively and like properly like take care of like their body when it was broken down. Like I think that like
But what
eventually like
gets worn out about it? Is it the
like the joint, like you can talk about like cartilage, like the way the cartilage
yeah.
can literally break down and fall apart. In your joint capsules, you have like fluid, like synovial fluid that like
Mhm.
cushions and like it's a lubricant for the joint. Like that stuff can literally deteriorate just because of so much like um what's the word I'm thinking of?
But like you don't have that in your
Yeah.
hip, do you?
In your hip, I don't think is I don't know. I think there's fluid around
Oh, you only
most
have that
joints.
in your hinge joints
You
though,
definitely have it
like
in your knee, like
cartilage.
synovial fluid. Um, your hip exactly. I think there's fluid around all your joint pockets, the big ones like that, for
Hmm.
sure.
But not cartilage, right? Is there
Yeah,
cartilage
it's
in my
cartilage. Cartilage is
hip
just like
or not
what's
cartilage? What's the word? The stuff in between.
yeah, cartilage, tendon, like there's connective tissue, all that stuff, ligaments. I don't know what you're thinking of.
I'm just
Car-
wondering how it would wear down. 'Cause, I mean, I think there's a like
I think before you go, I think it's not um not having the proper requisite of physical tolerance in other areas, like your joint, like your tendons and your ligaments don't have the durability or strength yet to take on said thing that you're doing, right? Like
Mhm.
if I like am trying to train some, take example like 50-year-old athletes in the affiliate, and I'm trying to get them to do like fast, rapid like plyos where they're like bounding quick, like they just don't have like the durability and tolerance to withstand that type of force over and over. And so just like how hard, let's say like how hard your cartilage is like getting beat into or whatever is like it's not getting pulled back by like what your muscles and like
So
ligaments
is it
are.
only the cartilage? Because I think your tendons and ligaments can repair.
Right.
Can your cartilage
I don't
repair?
think it's just the cartilage by any means. I do like the cartilage is like what is softens like I think is like what's around like the
In between
outside
the
of the
bones.
bone between the bones and stuff, so it doesn't make that like hard on hard
Mhm.
feeling, right? So I do think um, there is more to it though. Like I think you can obviously your body can rejuvenate itself, like the ligaments and tendons, but I don't think it necessarily means they'll go back to where they were unless you do it the right way. Because I think there's people that have built up enough like damage and like created so many imbalances in the way they move that they've just kind of done themselves some almost permanent alterations.
Because I was thinking about that hip one. Like,
Mhm.
right, you have to have hip surgery because you biked too much. And
Yeah,
that
which
just
is
doesn't make
crazy.
sense to me. Like I could understand that you would have pain or some sort of injury because I mean, basically the idea I think is it's you trained it too much without giving it proper recovery time. But with proper recovery time, I don't think there's a mileage limit on a joint.
Well, that's interesting too with biking because like people talk about all the time, like in terms of like comparing biking to running. Like when
So
you're
low
biking,
impact and
you're
stuff.
doing zero eccentric contractions. There's no eccentric contractions. It's all concentric.
Yeah.
And like that's we all know that like the eccentric contractions is where the most damage occurs in terms of like the muscle tissue. Like it takes the biggest beating. So it's like on a bike. Yeah, that's weird that your hips. I'm under just that's what I'm saying. I don't feel like it's just like that's lack of managing the load and stuff you do because
Yeah,
it's
until
not
you
bearing
just
your
like
hips.
slowly
Your hips.
wore it down.
Yeah,
Whereas if you had given it like a week rest, maybe it would have been.
but yeah, and like facilitating it with other like maybe I just bike and I do zero resistance training, right? I do zero.
Yeah.
Like you never take those joints or muscles through any other range of motion or movement pattern other than your specific cycling. Like you never squat past a certain thing. You never move unilaterally. You never, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But then how would that like wear it down? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah,
Like
that's a
like I said, I think you could wear it down from like doing too much too fast, but I don't think there's like a mileage limit on it.
yeah. I don't know about that. I definitely don't think it's set. Like when you're born, there's a certain mileage. I think it's dictated based off of like what you do to it, and like the life span on it can be like increased or decreased based on like what you are doing to it.
Yeah. Which brings me to the question of, do you think games athletes are healthy? You said yes. But you said in general. Did you mean like in general compared to like
Oh
general population, or did you mean like yes, they're healthy?
no, I just think I meant like on average. I think the majority of them actually are pretty healthy, but then I definitely think there probably are some that are not. And I also think that that number has gotten better. I think like in the era of like probably like
16.
2012 to like 2000 like 16 17, I feel like it was just like CrossFit when it was blowing up and it was just all about like grinding your face off and
Mhm.
Castro's games just being like volume volume volume. And like I just don't think there was that awareness around like recovery and like training smarter not harder. And like I always infamously heard like about like you heard it too, like about women like not being having periods for like years at a time because they're like just body is so effed up from being in
Yeah.
such a deficit and like overtraining. And like I still think that potentially can come up, but I feel like the discussion and awareness around like taking care of your body to have better longevity is there. But yeah, I mean, what would you use as your parameters to measure health?
Well, that's what I was about to ask. Like I hear people say like games athletes aren't healthy, but like I don't know what way they would be unhealthy.
Yeah,
So like, do you know what they're talking about if they would say they're like in what way they're unhealthy?
I would say like definitely that's one way I'd measure it for like it's easy for women is like if their menstrual cycles are like regular. I
Mhm.
would say that's like kind of the go-to right away because like that's just like a telltale sign of like if their hormones are
But I think
responding.
the major one I heard about that was, I think it was either Katrin or Sarah,
Hmm.
and when they were like trying to figure out what was wrong, they found out that she was eating like 1,200 calories less than she needed to be per
Yeah,
day.
yeah, overtraining and undereating.
Yeah.
So I would say that's like obviously yeah, sign of health for guys. Like it's probably harder to like notice at face value, but like I guess it'd be easiest to like just obviously like a blood panel. Obviously, you're seeing like testosterone, and it would be ideal if you could have like before and afters, like the comparison of like where your testosterone is at. But like I would also place markers of health on just like I don't know, honestly the basics like quality of sleep, and that's the thing is like most games athletes are like sleeping well.
Yeah.
Um, you could get into it like a lot of the stuff I pay attention to. I'm like kind of interested to get into someday, like with myself, but I just like haven't taken the time. It's just like you hear all the talk about like gut health,
Mhm.
and like the health of
Yeah,
your
I've heard
gut,
you
and
talk
like
about that a few times.
yeah, just like how it interacts with like everything in your body. It's
Mhm.
like people talk about like, how your gut is like your second brain, and like how
Mhm.
the bacteria in your gut like control so many things. But it's like honestly, like if you never take solid shits ever, then that's like a pretty solid sign that you're not like good health. Like your gut is messed up. If like every time you shit, it's just like not solid turd. Like that's what I've heard. If like you don't have a like solid poop ever, like yeah, that's a really bad sign.
Do games athletes have that?
Honestly, self experience, I don't have many solid dumps. Like I
Really?
think it's because yeah, I think my diet's too high in carbs and simple carbs, so I don't probably eat enough fiber to let my food like be slower digesting and like extracting more nutrients. Like when you have more simple carbs and like fast digesting foods, um, then yeah, you bowel movements are a lot more regular.
Hmm.
And I would say yeah, it's interesting and like there's
How
obviously
many
lots of
carbs do
things.
you eat a day?
I'm not tracking right now. Yeah, off
Like
season for
when
me,
you're
but
in training?
yeah, 500 grams a day.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways to like have better gut health like that. I mean, we're getting on a tangent, but I don't know. Is there any other markers you would test?
Well, this is kind of my problem. Like for me, healthy is very like very soft science. Like because I hear this all the time, and they're like, "Oh, blood, blood, blood," but like I don't know. I just feel like the blood has changed and is not actually that good of a marker. Maybe I don't know enough about it, but I would imagine you could be perfectly healthy and have poor blood, or you could have poor blood and feel perfectly healthy.
Potentially, I think what you're saying is like you don't necessarily need
Like,
the blood
dude,
to tell. I think you.
they've changed the normal range for testosterone by like 50% over the last like 10 years. Like it
Think it's
used to
gone
be
down.
like, yeah, it used to be like I think it was like 500 to like 1200. Now they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, normal's like 300 to 1000.
Dang. Yeah, that's
So they
crazy.
just like shifted it down.
Yeah. I mean, I think yeah, some people get so used to like living at what they're at. Um, Dude, this is a side tangent. This guy at our gym, young kid, he's a coach. Do you know Luke?
Um,
Tall Luke. I
the
can't
tall
think of his
one,
last
yeah,
name.
Jack Harlow.
Wait, what?
Jack Harlow. He looks like Big
Oh,
Jack Harlow.
okay. So do you know his brother Corbin?
No.
Okay, his older brother Corbin. He's only like 2 years older than him. He's got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So, right, type 2 is like with self-induced. So type 1, like
Yeah.
he didn't do
Genetic,
anything
right?
about it. It's a genetic thing, but like it's not that usually doesn't happen. Well, it can happen, but it happened when he's like early
That's
20s.
kind of late, right?
Yeah, but like he was telling me about it and like just insane, like how he was feeling, and then like he was like testing his blood sugar and like just like ridiculously high, like up in like the 500s, like his
Oof.
blood sugar when it's like not like if you're above 110, you're like pre-diabetic.
Oof.
So like just like ridiculous. So he like went into like ketoacidosis where he had like all his,
Dang.
you know what I mean? So he was like, and like he went to the hospital and like they kept him, but like when they like ran his numbers, they were like, "How are you like functioning?" And he's like, "I'm like feel tired, I guess, but like I." So it's just like some people like bodies just get like are able to adapt enough
Yeah.
to like do what they got to do. But it
Mhm.
was crazy. They were telling me like, dude, like people die at these levels. Like this is crazy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think healthy is kind of just like how you feel, right?
A little bit, but if you go into that, like you know how all the people out there on social media, they're like, you know, people who are super obese, and they're like,
I
"I
feel
feel
some.
great, I'm
Yeah.
healthy," and we know, like Sporty Beth, she thinks she's healthy.
Well,
Isn't she
that's
healthy
the
because
other
she
thing.
feels healthy?
Like I think I'm healthy. Like I do everything you could possibly imagine to try and be healthy,
Hmm.
dude. I can't focus on anything ever.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, I guess health
is it?
obviously is way more than physical. Like, right? We all
Yeah.
know it's like
Well, and some
mental.
people say like focus has to do with like your food and all that stuff, right? So it's like
Absolutely.
food, exercise can all help focus, but then it's like, dude, I'm retarded low key, bro. Like I'm stupid, dude.
I
I'll
mean, I
sit
am
down to
too.
try and do something, and I'm like, I can focus for like maybe 2 seconds.
You don't give yourself enough credit. You're pretty smart. You got freaking yeah. You're creative, but that's funny. I feel the
It
same
takes
way.
me 1,000 hours.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
I
it's
don't know.
like,
I would say in general, just swing it back around. Like I think games athletes probably get a bad rap when like I feel like I'm surprised. I feel like he would be the one that like they're not healthy. They're so dependent on carbs and sugar
well,
and
that's what I was just about to bring up. So I don't know if this is true. We talked about that metabolic flexibility thing. So metabolic flexibility is basically like your body's ability to switch back and forth between burning
energy
carbs or
systems.
whatever and burning fats. So people say like this is kind of I think was what Metfix was getting at with that post that they made. Did you see that about Hopper?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're basically saying like he's not healthy. I mean, obviously he's still healthy relative to everybody, but he's not optimally healthy because he relies on carbs so much.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the thing I was asking you about is do you think that that's like what do you think about that?
Well, I feel like they weren't the way. This is why their post was stupid. Is they were taking him as an example, comparing it to what they think, like they want the general population to be. And I thought they were like wording it as in like the general population
Well,
living their life as Jason does is not healthy. I don't know
well,
if
I
they
think
said Jason isn't healthy.
no, I don't know if they said Jason isn't healthy. Let me pull up the actual thing, but the problem I had with it was they like like misrepresented what CrossFit actually is.
Yeah, 100%.
So let me go find it.
I mean, we talked about this in one of the ones, right? I mean,
Yeah. Where's
I
the one
just
about
yeah,
Hopper?
we just talked about how like them using Jason Hopper as a comparison to what a CrossFitter is, as like there's 40 or 30 games athletes compared to the how many thousand regular CrossFitters that
Well,
go to this affiliate.
and even for CrossFit, this is why I said that's because Hopper doesn't do CrossFit, is because um even the way they talked about it, him being on high carbs is actually not CrossFit potentially
That's what they said.
because well that's what I'm saying
Okay.
because of that video. Remember that video I showed you about Greg Glassman saying modal domains includes any bioenergetic scheme.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my argument was like Hopper doesn't do CrossFit because how would he like we don't even know how he would do if he like wasn't able to eat carbs in a competition or for his training.
Yeah, I feel like where the dilemma lies is like I talked about it, is obviously not only using just carbs. It's just that so much of the energy system that they do use is the glycolytic and fasts,
Yeah.
but they are using. I would yes definitely agree in favor of CrossFit. It does more towards anaerobic power output time domains, or yeah, like especially under half an hour, right? Opposed to like they're not going on these cyclist rides for 2-3 hours, where it is more so, um, you know,
But you can
utilizing
also
that.
use different energy systems to do things in that glycolytic range.
Well, there's only 3 energy systems.
What are they?
So there's the ATP PCR, it's the phosphocreatine, which is like your 10 to 12 second.
Yeah.
This is why you take creatine, right? To like boost that storage. Second
Glycolytic
one
and
is
aerobic.
glycolytic, where you're using carbohydrates, and then there's oxidative aerobic, where you're using fat.
So your
Oxygen.
body will have no blood glycogen if you don't eat carbs.
Wait, what? Like you'll have no glycogen storage? Is that what you're saying if you don't eat carbs?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Correct. Your body will take the fat through a system and turn it into ketones. Ketones is like an alternative substrate that like your brain would use instead.
Can you use
And like
ketone?
I
So
can't
would those
remember.
could
I'm
those
definitely rusty
ketones
on this stuff.
so could those ketones power like exercise
Yeah,
in an anaerobic state?
yeah. The how well and compared to, I obviously don't think it's
Well, that's a
not
different
good.
argument, but
Yeah, it's a different argument, but yes, they to a degree they can for sure. To a degree.
so then you could make the argument that under modal domains includes the ability
Being
to perform
being in
under
ketosis.
keto. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's why their diet's called keto. It's ketone
Yeah.
ketosis.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you could argue that. I like all the stuff you said to me is like testing your body's ability to be under any substrate constraint. Yeah.
So then that's why I said Hopper's not doing CrossFit, because he's like his body, he's not training that energy system.
He is training energy system.
He's training keto.
He's just training one more than the other. Well, that's different. You don't have to be in ketosis to only be using fat, because he's still burning fat for fuel. He's still working his oxidative system.
Yeah. But
I
maybe
mean,
less less than someone who potentially works in fasted training every once in a while.
Just to the amount of volume that they train, I doubt it. I mean, they're training so much, and they get also like they get so fit, right? They get so aerobically fit that their body is so well at using oxygen that they can do a lot more things in a aerobic oxidative state that most of us can't, because
They even do it in glycolytic.
most of us are more glycolytic because we can't use oxygen as well as they can. Yet their lungs are so well that their ability to shuttle oxygen from their lungs to their muscles is
I heard
so
that
much
games
more
athletes don't have good VO2 max.
relative to like cyclists, right?
Yeah.
But that's
But is it still good? Because I was watching WOD Science with Medeiros. I don't know if you saw that. They like posted a thing.
I
Just like
saw that they did a thing, but I didn't see the video yet.
and he said that he tested Justin, and Justin has the same VO2 max as him.
Yeah, I mean, but that guy has he's a sports background, right? He's European. Don't they do tons of endurance as sports, don't they? Dude,
I mean,
I just mean like
I don't know what he does, but still, that's just crazy to think that like someone top level games athlete would even have the same as that guy.
Yeah, I mean, VO2 is not a big sliding scale. I don't think it's not huge. Obviously, there's people that are the outliers. Like the highest VO2 maxes. Do you know what sport it is? Like across the world?
Probably marathoning or something.
It's freaking cross country skiing.
Mm.
It's cross country skiing from like Norwegians or maybe one of those places.
Does
where
it have
it's
to do with altitude?
elevation?
Oh yeah, elevation.
It has to do like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so much of your VO2 is so like genetic dependent, and so it's like those people that have generations of families that have lived in the freaking like
mountains,
10,000-foot mountains for the last however many hundreds of years, and then like they just so a lot of it's genetic, just and like I don't think you can really improve your VO2 that much unless obviously like you're taking someone who's like literally like a 20 VO2 max because they're severely obese and don't do anything, and then over the span of 3 years, right, right, but like someone who's already just been in shape, healthy their whole life, like I don't think like their VO2 is really like boosting that much.
So let's say we took Hopper, and at the games this year there was going to be 3 events where you had to not eat for some amount of time before. Okay? Or you couldn't eat carbs for some amount of time before. And we took Hopper, and over the next month or two, just pretend there's 2 months till the game, we had him do like fasted sessions 3 times a week. Do you think that he would perform better than the other games athletes because of that in those fasted workouts?
If they had to do fasted workouts at the games?
Yes.
I think he would, yeah. In those workouts specifically?
Yes, in those workouts specifically.
Yeah.
So then training for doing something in that domain will make you better at that domain. So then you're leaving out a portion or a domain.
One thing that this conversation has made me thought of, I'm going to see if I can connect it, as to what we talked about the other day with like the height of athletes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you never program thinking about that, right, as a metric, like that you shouldn't be. But there's no way that you can't have it be a factor in your head while you're thinking about it, correct? We agreed on that?
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna like create a workout where it's literally just like a small margin and it's only thrusters and burpees. Like, because you just like no, there's zero separation type.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do that, right? So it's like you wouldn't put something together like that due to a um, genetic or like a physical trait or characteristic that you can't change. So tying it into like this, um, back to like your fasting thing, like so much of this is dependent off of variables that like you can't even really control. Like you think of someone like Guy Myros, we're talking about using those energy systems. You can train it a little bit, but we know Guy is so fast twitch, type 2 fiber, like
Yeah.
he's a power, like so his body just runs off of burning sugar for energy versus
Mhm.
someone who doesn't. So you're going to confine somebody to like more so like what a genetic disposition puts them at rather than like making it just like an objective test where it's not taking those things into account. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but I think it's wrong.
I just feel
Because
like
you can make that
it's a similar
you can make that
parallel.
same argument, like, why would you test thrusters because one person was naturally born taller, so they have a harder time.
Yeah.
Just
So that's
because
what I'm saying. But like,
I'm born with better energy metabolism in keto doesn't mean that like it shouldn't be tested.
so then here's what I'm saying too. Then it's like obviously it's like yeah, you wouldn't go away from it like from doing it necessarily at all. It's like sure, you can throw in a test where it is just okay, 100 thrusters and it or whatever. It's like okay, then you can throw a test in where it's fasted, right? And then
Mhm.
it's just one test. What's the point of like jumping through all the hoops of like creating? I just feel like it's like such an exhaustive like thing that you'd
I'm
have
not
to
saying they should do it at
control.
the games. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like
I'm just
instead
talking
of
about
like
the CrossFit methodology in general.
yeah, I think it's a fun conversation to have, like we're doing and thinking
Mhm.
about it, and like it's fun to maybe experiment on your own or like do things. So yeah, like I definitely think it's fun to talk about, but yeah, it would never be a thing or happen because there's just so many variables and factors that just like wouldn't make it make sense.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Okay.
But I still think that I stand by what I said. That's because Hopper doesn't do CrossFit. Because that's what
Does anybody really do that though? So is anybody CrossFitters?
no, it was just an exaggeration, but I'm
Yeah, it
saying like
was.
in terms of like actually doing CrossFit or what they were saying was Hopper or what they were saying is CrossFit doesn't optimize your health because it doesn't train these energy systems, blah blah
Yeah.
blah, right? But
Yeah.
that's wrong because in the definition of CrossFit, it actually does include those energy systems.
But yeah, I
By
agree.
saying work capacity across broad time and modal domains, you're including being able to output while fasted.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think it's dumb to you like they're just their understanding of like what people are doing for training too, especially like dude, like they are using more energy systems and time domains than any of us even close. Like,
Yeah.
dude, he's running like 15, 20 miles a week. And then yeah, he's doing these sprints and he's doing X, Y, Z. Like he's covering the freaking spectrum of what you can do in terms of performance or health. You know what I mean? It's obviously it's taking it to the extremism of like what the body's capable of, but yeah.
Yeah. I need to find this thing so we can kind of talk about it. Did you see Mike wrote a 624 yesterday?
Yeah, he's freaking gross, dude.
Dude, that's freaking fast.
And
624 2K row.
I didn't say this to like under demean him. I was like, dude, that's crazy. But then I was just like, can you believe Jason Hopper and Sprague row a 601 and a 603? How stupid is that?
Dude.
I was like, because I can't even fathom getting to where Mike is. I rode a
Yeah.
640. I did a 640. I could
Was
like
that at
see.
the
No, I did that in training just before NorCal.
Oh, okay.
I did like a 650 or 51 or something at NorCal.
Okay.
But anyway, I was like, I could maybe
Yeah,
see
dude.
myself doing like a 635, like at my best.
Yeah.
But I was like 624, so I'm like thinking of his boat, like him thinking 601, 603. Like that's crazy.
That's so insane.
His
And to
lungs are
think
so
that
impressive.
Khalifa rode like a 6:20 something at the
Into a half
beginning of a
marathon.
half marathon.
It's insane. Makes me feel like when I hear stuff like that, it honestly makes me feel so dumb for how much like time and effort I put in to only be as good as I am.
Yeah, bro.
It's like
That's like,
it literally is discouraging. You're like, wow, like I've wasted like not wasted. I've spent so much time and energy trying to get to like somewhere, and like I'm so average compared to. It's just like that's so frustrating.
bro, Khalifa rode faster than your PR 2K at the beginning of a half marathon.
That's why I can't make the CrossFit Games, bro. You don't got to tell me.
Got to get on that rower, bro.
Yeah, I'm retired, so it don't matter.
So a while ago, I did the workout was every minute for 20 minutes, calorie echo, and then calorie row the second minute. And
Okay,
I had to pick a number that I could hit
for 20 minutes,
for 20 minutes.
it's 10
So I
rounds
did
on each.
15, yeah, so I did 15 and 15.
That's hard.
My goal is to get to be able to do 17 and 17.
I think wasn't it Fraser who did? He like his was like a famous. I honestly want to say his was like 30 minutes, 3 machines, like ski row bike. I think it was like
I know
8.
there's Miko's triangle.
Oh yeah, what's that one again? I know. I always forget.
I think it's
It's like
ski.
builds each week, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like ski, row, echo or
Yeah.
assault, rest one for 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Isn't it up to get up to like 20? Or no?
20
I would.
cows.
What is it? Just get as high as you can, or is it?
Yeah,
Is
I
there,
think so. Yeah.
yeah, that's stuff I need to just like.
I
If
want to
I
show
were
you what
to
I did.
compete again, I would need to do stuff like that.
I want to show you what I did to get up to did you say if I compete again?
Have I, dude? I'm probably done. Have I not talked to you about that?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm competing anymore, dude.
Why, bro?
You thought I was joking?
You said it last year too, so I figured you were joking.
I don't remember saying. If I did, I definitely was just like hitting last year in a very. But
After
yeah, I mean,
crack, you were like, I think I might be done.
yeah, I mean, those thoughts always creep in it, like during, like after, like it's like such like a what's the word? I don't know, just like crash after like competitions that you do feel like. But no, I mean, even going into NorCal, I was kind of like, this could be my last one potentially. If
You should
that's a
do
different topic.
Why do you want to be done? Like
It's not that I want to be. It's hard because like I'm definitely not sick of CrossFit, not sick of training and like grinding and competing. But it's just kind of all the extra,
other stuff.
just all the sacrifices that it takes. Just of life.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's hard being freaking married and having 2 kids, and like I just feel more than anything, it just like weighs on me. I feel guilty of all the time I take and all the energy it takes.
What would you think about taking a year off and then reevaluating?
I mean, you could. The idea of taking a full year off, I think, is not very smart. I don't think, with how precious time is in terms of like you have to build up the experience and training years. And
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, if you're gonna quit anyway,
right, yeah. So like, I mean, if you decide to come back, I mean, it is what it is. You either took the year off or you didn't. So like, you couldn't do anything about it. So yeah, maybe I'm not like gonna say like there's no chance I'll ever do anything again. And I still haven't made up my mind. Like I'm just kind of all I do is just hit the class every day. That's it. Just work out class.
that's it.
Yeah, it's been I've loved it. It's awesome. Like zero pressure on training. They're just having fun, throwing down. I love to work out still. Love CrossFit. I just don't know if I want to, get back into trying to train 3 hours a day. Freaking just monitoring every decision I make around like how's this gonna make me feel. It just like takes away from my like emotional energy like at home. So if I'm just like, exhausted and tapped out, it's just like it's not that bad, right? Like at once, but just like then when you like days stack up and like then you look back like on the whole year and you're just like, holy crap, like that was a lot of stuff that added up of like, time spent away from whatever maybe Kiana and the kids are doing, or just takes away from a lot. So it's just like, how responsible is it for me as a husband and a dad to I hope I was higher than 40. Oh, I think I was 40th in the online semis. No, keeping it real, I've definitely trained a good amount. I'd say I used to train like 2.5, 3 hours a day.
He's
Quite
just
a bit.
talking about after semis
I'm just
ended
saying
this
like
year.
now, right? Just like I wish that'd be cool. But yeah, like just like taking away from like my wife and kids, like I just like don't know how responsible it is to like do a glorified hobby. I'm
Glorified hobby.
not profiting out of
Bro,
it.
you got to have that, bro. It makes your life better. It makes you.
Well, dude, no, hobbies are great, but it's what point is it just a glorified hobby and like you're kind of trying to treat it like a career, but yet it's not like giving you any money. Like I'm training 3 hours a day, like have to tell my wife I'm not watching a show because I got to go to bed like every night
Bro,
all year
screw
long.
that show. You don't want to watch a show,
I'm
bro. You want to
just
be in
using
the
that as an
gym.
example. I'm just using that as an example, right? And it's just little things though that come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can
What do
give
you think
you
about that?
I think that I was working a lot in 21 and 22. And I was like, dude, I just want to quit. I want to quit my job. I don't want to work anymore. And then I quit, and like I pretty quickly realized that I would like needed more. Like I got bored. Not bored,
Yeah.
but like I was just like, oh, like my life's incomplete now. Like I need to be doing stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll feel that.
No,
That's
like
why I
I
said
said,
maybe you need a
it has
year
nothing
off.
to do. It has nothing to do with like, dude, like I still want to have like physical endeavors. Like I want to grind, work out, and like be always capable of all that stuff. And like, if it was like if I had nothing to worry about, like if I was getting paid to do it, it was my job. Like I have no problem to keep doing it. But it just like at times it feels irresponsible that like, yo, I still have like all this life to live. Like, is it that viable for me to be spending $8,000-$10,000 a year on this hobby and not profit anything? Obviously, it brings good things to my life, and like that's the things I have to remember. Like, obviously, I think it makes me better as a person. The mental and physical obstacles that like I overcome because of it, I think it enhances my life. I do think it's
And bro,
given
you're
me
gonna
tons of
remember. Go ahead.
what I think it's given
I
me
was just
tons
gonna
of
say
good.
you're gonna remember TFX. You're gonna remember
Yeah.
West Coast Classic. Like you're gonna remember all that stuff in 10 years. Like you wouldn't remember a
Oh, I'll
weekend
never
hanging out at
regret
home.
it. Yeah, and I'm never gonna regret it. Obviously, why I'm still doing it because I wouldn't do it if I thought I would regret it. But it just I do think there does come a point where it's like you have to decide like, do I keep going? And it's like I haven't made my mind up yet. And like if I do keep going, I do think it'll be in a different approach, especially
If you
mentally.
keep going, can I coach you?
No, we can train together.
Bro, why can't I be your coach?
Because you'll be having me do this gimmicky shit all the time, fasting before I go train and shooting
Bro,
free
you'd
throws
get so fit.
for Metcons.
Bro, you'd get so fit.
I'd be good at doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
I'd want to try to coach myself.
And then you can
first,
go to
just what it's
NorCal.
like. Yeah,
You
just
what?
how many dick spins I can do for time and qualify for games.
100 dick sucks for time.
That's what's frustrating. That's what's hard. It's like I go to TFX. And obviously, every competition is different, tons of factors. But I placed fifth, 3 spots out from the games. I am 1 spot ahead of Bill, and then a couple weeks later, different set of programming, different set of
Because
instances.
Bill's an athlete.
Yeah, he is. He's way athletic.
He was ready for
Bill's,
NorCal.
yeah, Bill's a beast. He executes well. I don't execute well. He wins. Obviously, it wasn't close. It was a bad weekend for me. So it's just crazy all the factors. It's like I beat the same guy that won the next one and like qualified. Yeah. Obviously, he didn't do great at TFX, and I understand people have off weekends, but it is like things to play out in your head. It's like, dang, like, yeah, it's hard.
But that also shows you, bro, you beat him by 1 and he made the games.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's like, you do want to keep going because you're like, obviously, it's possible. Like, you're right there. And I mean, I've been to semis 4 years in a row. You what? And you as a coach?
Especially if you got the right coach.
Yeah, right, dude. Adrian's so freaking
Adrian's so good.
He's so what's the word?
Underrated.
Underrated in the sport. Like he's obviously well known and everybody knows him, but like the fact that he doesn't have more I mean, he has quite a few athletes, but the fact that like more athletes don't want to try to like work with him is crazy. I mean, I think his training is still growing, but
I think of Adrian as like a true, like, I don't think a lot of people like actually know CrossFit, but like when I think about Adrian, I'm like, oh, this guy actually like knows CrossFit.
Dude, every time
like he doesn't even just know the sport, like he knows the methodology so well, dude.
Well, dude, he's been on seminar staff since like 2012. Imagine being able to teach like all the experience of teaching like the methodology to everybody for over a decade, and like working around other seminar staff members, like many of them, and just like, yeah. And he competed in the games, literally the only person to ever beat Froning like on the team. Like, dude, just the credibility he has, and just, yeah, he's underrated for sure. It's like, if you have the chance to work with him in person, like, dude, underrated for sure.
Are you a L2?
No, I need to get mine. I still have my L1. Doesn't expire till next year. That's the one annoying thing with CrossFit is like, if you, let's say you got your L1 and you had it for 2 years, and then you decide to take your L2. Once you take your L2, it's just only another 5 years till expiration. It's just that should be changed. I feel like something with that, like it should be, because it's
My
like gives you
L1
zero
expired.
incentive. It gives you like no incentive to want to like level up and spend money to your L2, because it's like not zero, but it's like, I don't know. It's frustrating that you would just sign up for an L2 right after you just took your L1, but the years of your accreditation only last the same amount. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I need to get it. I just obviously training's been more my focus over the past few years, and I've still have my L1 and stuff, but eventually I'll get my L2.
Colby wants to affiliate, so he's thinking about having me get my L2 so I can be like on the affiliation thing.
You have to be you could do that, but you'd have to have ownership under your name, partial ownership. It'd have to be like over, like written in, because Rochelle, Rochelle that works with Adrian, they were doing like, want to do the same type of thing, or are in the process of it up at her gym in Logan. But it's like she's has some ownership with her. I think it's her sister or somebody, and like she's the one who had to get the L2, and she got it. But I think she has to, like, on documentation, there has to be
have ownership.
Yeah, so yeah, you would have to be like written in as like a, I don't know, it's nuanced, but so I doubt Colby's gonna give you some ownership to Brickyard, but maybe. That might be cool.
Frick, bro.
Does he want to affiliate both, the Roy and the?
I'm not sure.
I mean, he should. He does CrossFit, and he reposts CrossFit stuff, so he should probably affiliate.
Yeah,
but at least his head's in the right spot.
You know what's crazy? He sent in a thing to CrossFit, and he's like, "Hey, I want to be an affiliate. Like, can I set up a whatever?" Dude, these people suck, bro. They freaking emailed him back like a week later, and they're like, "Sure, I have this appointment," and then the appointment wasn't for like another 2 weeks, and then something happened, and he like had to cancel the meeting. And then like they sent him an email after he canceled and then he like sent the email. He's like, "Hey, I'd like to reschedule. Like, I still want to affiliate, blah blah." And then they sent him a thing, and they're like, "Looks like you're using the word CrossFit on your website." And they're like, "We're gonna like if that doesn't change, like we're gonna send over our lawyer, our like legal team and stuff."
Dang.
And he's like, "Okay."
I mean, that's kind of fair though. Like,
it's just funny, like they're
you've
doing
talked about that. You want CrossFit to have balls and say that to people though. You've said that before.
Yeah, but it was a woman that said it. No, I'm just kidding. No, but like, dude, what was I saying? Like, why are you going after the people that are like actively trying to become affiliates when like he's been doing this forever? And if he just didn't try and become an affiliate, you never even would have like noticed.
I mean, I still feel like they have to stick to, like, they're not just gonna like be a pushover and just let it happen. Like, he hasn't been around forever. His gym's been open for what, 2 years?
Yeah.
But
2 years and they didn't do anything, and then now he's like, "Oh, hey, I want to be an affiliate," and they're like,
"Well, yeah, they can't just freaking go search every freaking gym across the freaking world that it says the word CrossFit. Like, yeah, CrossFit's not that big of a headquarters, that many employees, but I mean, yeah, they just told them. It's not like they did it. Like, I feel like they need to put that message out. I don't know. You've said that before blatantly. I just think you're being biased because it's your gym.
I'm not being biased.
But why doesn't he just want to get his L1, L2, and then do it?
I don't know.
Interesting. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what you pay for, though, the name. And
All right, let me show you this real quick. So I did 20-minute EMOM of 15 and 15, and then I'm trying to work my way up to 17 and 17.
I suck on the Echo bike, dude.
So
I need to do stuff like that. I don't even need to touch a barbell for like 6 months. I need to just freaking ride the rower and Echo bike and run. Shoot some free throws. Weighted free throws.
So this was week 1.
I'm in.
I did EMOM 30, 18 cal Echo. Why is this thing? 18 cal Echo, 18 cal row, second minute, rest, and then start back on the rower, and then Echo, and then rest. So I did that for 30 minutes. So my idea there was kind of like be at a faster pace than my goal pace and just kind of like go back and forth. It was 2 minutes on, 1 minute off.
Okay.
And then the next week I did 60 minutes of just 13 and 13 back and forth. Mm-hmm. And the goal was to still keep that at about 50 seconds for each, right? Because like I could finish 13 at like 42, but the goal was to keep it at 50 to try and keep it like as aerobic as possible while still having like high power, high output. So 60 back and forth and then the next week I did 20. I just upped the Echo by 1 and then kept the row the same. Mm-hmm. And then the next week, this one was the worst one. I wanted to cry doing this one, dude. So 40 minutes, 13 cal Echo the first minute, 13 cal row the second minute. Mm-hmm. But on 0, 10, 20, and 30, you had to do 18 and 18. Mm-hmm. So it was 40 total of 13 and 13, but you had to do a round of 18 and 18 at the beginning of each 10-minute mark. So this one hurt so bad, dude.
I feel like that's good. I like that. I like that style of throwing that in there to ramp it up, doing like bursts. Yeah, that's tough.
And then I did this one. I failed this one. This one was way over programmed. So it was supposed to be 8 on, 2 off. And it was going to be 20 the first minute and then 20 the second minute and then 16 and 16 back and forth. And then rest 2 minutes. Dude, that was way over programmed.
Yeah, that's a lot, but if you can get up to that, it's good stuff. Let me know what you think of this. I had programmed for the class yesterday. It's kind of like, I think I had programmed after we'd talked a little bit about when we were talking about like long time durations. Remember we were talking about that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like, I still like love the intensity aspect of it. But yesterday I had every 4 minutes for 5 rounds, 20 unbroken wall balls. I had to do 20 unbroken into a 100-meter run. So the goal was just like fast, hard, right? 20 unbroken, hard 100 meters, not very long. So like almost like a sprint. In the remaining time, you just active recovery, bike or row. And then just at the top of the 4th minute, again, 20, 100 for 5 rounds. And I was like seeing people's scores. They were pretty fast, right? Like top, like right around a minute, just under a minute to do the wall ball and run. And I was like, oh, dang, like, I wonder if like that was faster than I wanted to be. But then I went and hit the class because I've been doing the class. And it was actually a sick workout, like a sick stimulus. I was super pumped how it turned out. Like hit it hard, come right back in. Then I hopped on my rower. I rode like a 220 per 500. So I wasn't like dogging it.
Yeah.
Still going. And I just loved the way it was like staying kind of almost in like an aerobic state the whole time for 20 minutes straight. And then like hard power output burst. Yeah. And like just after I was done with it, I was like, dude, I think that was like a perfect kind of style workout for the class because it allowed for like that hard intensity and then for some people to just like stay moving because you're still like working out and sweating for 20 minutes. So kind of just checked all the boxes for me of like when I think in the lens of like a lot of the members of like, oh, like that feels like a good workout because I just like moved for 20 minutes sweat, but like it was intentful when I was doing like my working stuff. Like I like went hard. And like I was like, oh, it turned out sick. So I feel like I'm gonna in the future kind of implement more stuff like that, like where it's like keep them moving. And I think I'd like the idea more of like having something a little more specific during the off time. I just had it listed as active recovery.
Like you could do like
in the future, I think I would put
bike or something.
Yeah, I think in the future I would put like a specific pace they need to stay within because like some people were just like dogging it and
Dogging.
rowing
Yeah.
like a 320, right? Like I would say like, hey, like minimum you have to be, or like you got to stay below it, 230 on the row at least,
Yeah.
or like just stuff like that, or giving them a
Mhm.
specific amount of work to accumulate. So that was just the first time I had programmed something like that for the class,
Yeah, I
and
like
I
that.
really liked how it went.
And I think specifically with the class, doing something where you specify that it has to be unbroken, because if you just put like 20 and 100,
Right.
a lot of people aren't going to be like, a lot of gen pop people aren't going to have the ability to like attack that the way it's supposed to be
Yeah.
done. So I think like saying it has to be unbroken is probably pretty good for like the
Yeah, and I
class.
do that a lot, and I know you how you feel about like unbroken requirements, and I like that a lot too. It just tests that ability of muscular endurance that people don't want to take themselves to because of that
Mhm.
burn and being uncomfortable. And then also with the running aspect, like at the end of the day, like you just ran 500 meters, and like you'll think like, well, I ran 500 meters, but it's like in the class setting, like how many of those people? When's the last time they ran more than like just a jog?
Yeah, and they'll
Like
say, "Oh, we only ran 500 meters," but if you programmed like a 700-meter run straight, they'd be like, "Oh,"
yeah, it's like
you
no,
know?
I don't want you to run 100 meters. Like I want you to sprint 100 meters. Obviously
Yeah,
not a full sprint, but like you should have been pushing it. Like the goal is to like run hard, and I was like that was tough. Like it was good.
yeah, that's a cool workout.
All right, I probably got to bounce.
All right, me too. I got to go coach at 3.
All right, coaching kids or what?
Yeah, I got a high school class and then a junior high class and then the adult like workout of the day for
I'd love to
proven.
see you coaching the kids classes. I want to see how that goes.
I'm not very good.
You feel like you have good like banter and like be able to get a rapport with kids?
I'm good
No,
with the junior high kids. I'm not good with the high school kids. The high school kids are so hard, bro.
it's weird. It's a weird. Like when I first started doing it, it was a weird learning curve for me because it was like this level of like you don't feel much older than them. Like at least I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah,
Like they honestly felt more like peers. Like obviously
yeah.
they were younger, but it didn't feel like a huge gap.
It felt
And
like
so
I was the senior, like hanging out with the freshmen. Like it was a
yeah,
little like,
it was a weird and like you were like guiding them and coaching them, so it was a weird like disconnect of like
yeah,
trying to like be chill, but like you like obviously like they gotta like respect you type of deal. It's not like
yeah,
like I never had a problem with them being like yeah, it was just a weird relationship. I feel like it takes time. I mean, you've been doing it for a minute, but I don't know. I know
yeah.
what you mean.
No, the high school's weird. Me and the junior high boys are freaking tight, bro. Like
There you go.
we have a good time. The high school, I'm like, they're just kind of
I
like,
say, dude, you like think I've learned more than anything. Like, yeah, like obviously it's important to have good training and like know what you're talking about. Like, you don't want to be just like Tweedledee, just like anybody who thinks they can coach. But more than anything, yeah, it's like, dude, you got to just be able to like connect good with like kids and like just build good culture, like making it cool.
yeah. All right, I
You're
gotta
good.
go. All
Yeah, we'll see it. Bye.
right, peace.